Friendships and betrayals are a part of life just as much as they are a part of pro wrestling storytelling. As we move into WrestleMania 38, I, Sam Laterna, present to you 5 WWE betrayals that stunned us. During the majority of her WWE tenure, Lana has been romantically linked on screen to Rusev. But sometimes business gets in the way of pleasure, and that's exactly what happened the first time this couple hit the bricks. It all started on a May 15th episode of Raw back in 2015 when Rusev decided to dismiss Lana of her managerial services. This caused Lana later that evening to smack a big smooch on good old Dolph Ziggler, but Lothario himself. Rusev retaliated, attacking Ziggler, ultimately injuring him. But Ziggler returned, and with Lana in tow, the two announcing that not only was he taking on her managerial services, but they were indeed romantically linked. This caused Rusev to retaliate and bring Summer Rae into the fold, causing a four-way love affair that no one really wanted to see on TV because it quickly became a very disjointed story, the final nail in the coffin being when Lana and Rusev announced their real-life engagement on the internet, finally mixing this storyline. Paul Heyman is playing a game of hot potato between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. Having managed Lesnar for the better part of 20 years, Heyman began managing the Tribal Chief amidst the pandemic in the absence of the Beast incarnate. However, when Lesnar returned to WWE at SummerSlam 2021, he called out Roman Reigns and clearly wasn't happy with Heyman's new association. Heyman tried to keep both sides happy, helping Brock Lesnar win the WWE Championship at day one, and helping Roman Reigns get the Universal Championship. Unfortunately, it didn't really work out for Heyman in that moment because Roman Reigns fired him, and we all thought that we were back to seeing the old duo of Heyman and Lesnar. However, at the Royal Rumble 2022, it was Heyman who ultimately committed an act of treachery when he handed Roman Reigns Lesnar's WWE Championship for him to beat down Lesnar. This brings us to WrestleMania 38, where Lesnar is the WWE Champion and Roman Reigns is the Universal Champ. These two will go head-to-head for a winner-takes-all match. Let's see how Paul Heyman chooses to get himself involved in this one, shall we? Back in 2016, we saw the formation of an unlikely duo in the form of Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho helped Kevin Owens win the Universal Championship, and KO helped good old Jericho defeat Roman Reigns to win that US title. But the tide started to turn quickly when Jericho accepted a Universal title match against Goldberg on behalf of Kevin Owens. Chris Jericho tried to make up for it by issuing a Festival of Friendship in the ring, a lavish celebration for KO, but it just wasn't enough for the prizefighter, who quickly put Jericho on his list of KO and attacked him mercilessly. Ultimately, the two wound up going head-to-head for the US title at WrestleMania, where Kevin Owens was ultimately victorious on the show of shows. At SummerSlam 2004, Randy Orton defeated Chris Benoit to become the youngest World Heavyweight Champion in history. That win didn't go over very well with Evolution leader Triple H, who had tried multiple times and failed to dethrone Benoit. This brings us to the next night on Monday Night Raw, where Evolution was in tow, all 4 members, Ric Flair, Batista, Triple H, Randy Orton, for a lavish celebration that was to take place in the ring for Randy Orton's title victory. Triple H ordered for Batista to hoist up Randy Orton on top of his shoulders, so the whole audience could see that title and Orton as the new heavyweight champion. He gave his thumbs up and then quickly, in a moment that completely shattered my childhood, gave a thumbs down, and that was the cue for Batista to electric chair Randy Orton, and it led to a brutal attack by all members of Evolution onto Orton. For the first time in Evolution's history, we started to see cracks in their armor, and this ultimately led to Randy Orton and Triple H feuding, and then later on, Triple H and Batista. Speaking of stables, the Shield has arguably been one of the most dominant ones in WWE over the past 10 years. Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins all debuted together on the main roster in 2012 and had a tremendous trios run until 2014. In 2014, fresh off a feud with Evolution, Rollins did the unthinkable, attacking his fellow Shield mates Reigns and Ambrose to the shock of the wrestling world. Earlier that night on Raw, Triple H had announced he had a plan B of sorts to destroy the Shield, and it turned out that the architect was indeed Triple H's plan A. In all honesty, the Shield had to break up, because it allowed each fan to pivot into main event status we all knew that they deserved. Now we see Rollins and Reigns dominate WWE television, and Dean Ambrose, now Jon Moxley, has been on fire since signing with AEW.